The Kernel Podcast. Hosted by Noah Norton.
Hey, how's it going, Colonel Crew? It's Noah, your fearless leader, your host. You know what? We've been feeling the love so much over here at the Colonel. I gotta ask. I asked the CEO this. I've asked my employees, my coworkers. At what point are we at cold? Really, at what point? Because we've been feeling so much love, and I know many of you would die for us. So, when do we just sign the paperwork, become a cult? I'm ready if you're ready, Let's drink some poison Kool-Aid, and let's watch some Morbius, all right? Because that's what we're going to do here. I was up all night, midnight sort of screening of Morbius, because I really wanted to get a sense of this movie. It's Sony's foray into creating their own universe, and, did they do it? Did they do it? Did Morbius ascend to the levels of Marvel? The answer is no. Morbius, more like Midbius. It's 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's where it's sitting. I think that's a little unfair. That's pretty low. I'd give it more like a 49%, 48%, It's certainly not as bad as, not worse than Captain Marvel. And so my kind of thoughts on this movie, I don't even really want to do a breakdown of the events. I think I just want to talk about the missed opportunities in how this character could have been used so differently. Just so differently. So I'm going to pitch you a better kind of version of the movie. And how it should start is it should be a multiverse film. Straight up, the Morbiverse should have happened on this movie. And one of the cheat codes that happens when you do a multiverse film, it doesn't need to make sense. Like, you don't need to have any logic happen. And Marvel's starting to get their head around this. They're like, wait, hold on. If we do multiverse, this doesn't have to have any resemblance of a story. There doesn't need to be sense. We just fill it with cameos, and no one will care. We'll make $1 billion. And I think that's something Sony missed out on here, because there's so much they could have done with a multiverse. My mind immediately goes Morbius versus Blade, right? A nice introduction to Mahershala Ali's Blade. Of course, he would be a natural foe to a vampire like Morbius. But then on top of that, throw in Wesley Snipes' Blade, right? You're starting to see it now. It doesn't need to make sense. People just have to look at it and go, oh, it's Mahershala Ali. Oh, it's Wesley Snipes. Exactly, right? I haven't even told you the plot of this movie, and you're already like, whoa, where can I see this? That's just the second act, all right? Third act of this movie, all three Spider-Men arrive. And here's the catch. It doesn't even have to be Toby and Tom. I think Andrew at this point is non-negotiable. Andrew needs to be there. But Toby and Tom don't even need to show up. Get three random-ass people. Maybe people who auditioned to be Spider-Man and didn't get it. So it's like, what is it? Asa Butterfield could be in there. Jake Gyllenhaal. Right? What? But he's also Mysterio. Exactly. How does this all work together? You're never going to find out. But they're going to be there. And that alone will sell the movie. You're not, with Marvel nowadays, you're not selling a story, all right? You're selling fan service. You're selling moments that people want to see, You want to see some cheeky, like, oh, I was almost Spider-Man in my world, something like that. And it's like, oh, I get, because I know the backstory, I haven't even told you what they're fighting against, what the problem is, and you don't give a shit, do you? You're already like, oh, I would like to see that, right? Lean into the multiverse. It's a get out of jail free for any writer, We know they're going to remake this movie in 4 years. Just kind of inevitable, right? And when they do, Sony should call me. But I also think there's more they could do. Because we're talking about the multiverse, obviously the Spider-Man and Marvel connections are there. But you're thinking too small if you think we're stopping there. We're going bigger. Not only will this be the introduction of a Marvel movie, it's going to bring over the Dark Universe, too. I think some of you see where I'm going. Not only are there going to be Spider-Men and Blades, but it's also going to bring over the famous vampires throughout cinema history. I'm talking Dracula. I'm talking Nosferatu. Are you seeing this? The first crossover between a black and white movie and a color movie. is your mind, you're blowing up right now? We get a live action, well, I guess it was already live action, but we get an updated Nosferatu and a Dracula with Morbius. Maybe they're against each other. Maybe you have a battle royale for vampire supremacy. You might be thinking, oh my God, we're hitting every demographic. People from film lovers of Nosferatu want to see this updated version. People who love Dracula, they're going to want to see this. Oh, the dark universe. Da, 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 da. You simple fools. I'm not done there. There's one last demographic that we need to bring over. Nostalgic white women. Late 20s, early 30s. You know where I'm going with this. Edward Cullen from Twilight. You dumb idiots. You thought I was done. No. Bring over Robert Pattinson's Edward Cullen from Twilight. Or we remember how good it was to see Toby and Andrew come through the portals. You have no idea how good it's going to be when we see Robert Pattinson reprise his role as Edward Cullen walking through the portals in Morbius 2, the Morbiverse. I'll give you a second, I know. Let the chills leave your body. Pretty freaking good idea, right? Sony, hit me. Because we're not only that, we're meshing together all of the multiverses with this, you know? Or at least the ones that matter. Because, you know, if we bring over Edward Cullen, maybe we could bring over Batman. I know, it's crazy, Marvel, DC, but honestly, Batman would do better in the Marvel Cinematic Universe than he would in DC. Let's be honest here. But that's my idea, and I think that's what they should do going forward. If you want any actual criticism of the movie, fine, all right? Some thoughts I have. More commitment by Jared Leto. More commitment. Famously, he tries to commit, but he only goes halfway in. No. Full Jared Leto. I want him unhinged. I wanted to see him go all the way. We know that he famously drank Tyrese Gibson's blood on the set. Not enough. I wanted to see Jared actually turn into a vampire. We know Jared surrounds himself with vampires. But I wanted to see him, you know, take that to another level. Do the bloodletting ritual to an eldritch god at midnight, you know, on a harvest moon. As we know, it to become a vampire, that's what you have to do. I almost did it myself, but a little squeamish with blood. So I opted to get bitten by a werewolf under the third full moon in August. Right. It's the decisions we make. But I would have liked to see him go further. And it's really a shame to me that he didn't actually turn into a vampire for this one. I guess in some ways I get it that he's thinking, you know, outside of this movie. You know, he wants the rest of his career, you know, vampire. That's difficult. That's a toxic set presence that can often bring, you know, because you're going to catering crafty and everyone's just, you know, they're like scooping up like mashed potatoes and stuff. And then you're like, ooh, is there an intern I can eat? You know, like I don't get into the politics of it, but it is true that is more difficult to get roles if you have made the sacrifice to the eldritch gods. Vamp anthem, yeah. Vamp anthem, yeah. Vamp anthem, yeah. Why didn't they get Playboy Cardi for this? Why did they? He should have scored this film. He should have done like a Travis Scott sort of thing with like Tenet. They should have Playboy Cardi do the score for Morbius. I think they could have had a way better theme for him. The vibe would have been way better. Such a clear bag fumbling. It's underwhelming, but it's not as bad as people make it out. It's so clearly trying to tell a story. Sony, it's Marvel. You don't need to have a story, okay? Just throw in Easter eggs and fan service. And I think you can do a little better than just the Vulture. Because they try to do a little Vulture thing in it, but come on. That's not, who are you doing that for? Who are you selling? Even Michael Keaton was like, why am I in this movie? What's going on here? Oh, and then one more thing. I'm a hat guy now. And that doesn't have anything to do with Morbius, but I'm a hat guy now. So I'm going through something. So, yeah, just expect to see that a lot more. I'm going to start vaping. Yeah, I just felt like I need to change my personality. So I'm a hat guy, vape guy. Some girl said it looked cute. She was really drunk. Anyways, that's my thoughts on Morbius. The Freudian slip there. Yeah, it's not very good. It's not great. Not bad. Whatever. Anyways, please follow our Instagram and TikTok pages. Like and subscribe down below. And you have a great one.